Hi, video number 2 for today. This is a really quick one though. A few people had seen my scarf I've been doing on Facebook and Instagram and just requested whether I could show them what stitch it is. Now it's a very simple stitch. To be honest, I think sometimes the yarn can make your work look twice as good as it actually is. It's only a V-stitch, but I'm going to show you a V-stitch because not everybody will know it. There are some of you out there that are going to find this really easy, but I just wanted to comment it was Riot from Kingcole that I've used. I'm going to have to start this one, although I'd already started this one for a pair of gloves that I'm hoping to do for next week, because obviously the other bit is attached to my scarf and I've got to start again. But this is the scarf. And as you can see, gorgeous variegation. That is what makes this scarf. It looks like you've been really fancy working on the stripes there, which of course you haven't been. This yarn is striping itself, which is great. The stitch, as I say, is a V-stitch. How I know it is a V-stitch anyway. I don't know whether it does have another name. And it couldn't be any simpler. So I'm going to show you how to do the V-stitch. I'm going to pop my scarf to one side. I've not finished it yet. I know it already looks quite long, but I like my scarves really, really long, so I'm going to be doubling it over. I'm also, although saying that, it looks pretty neat. Can you see on the edges? It's actually quite neat. I'm quite pleased with that. But I am going to do an edge on it. So if you decide you want to do this scarf, I'll probably put on how to do the edging next week, because I need to finish this. I can't start edging it until I've finished it. So I'll pop that to one side. Now, as I say, I had actually already started this because I was trying to make myself some gloves to match. It's a lovely yarn. It's a double knit yarn. I'm going to be using a 3.5mm crochet hook with it. Let's have a look. This particular shade is Water Lily and it's a 100-gram ball. Not quite, I think I'm going to need 2 balls for my scarf. Should about do it, but I might have to get another ball because I quite fancy doing some doll stuff in this because it's a really nice yarn. I got this from my friend's shop at So Unique, where we live in Worth. So if you're wanting to sort of look for the yarn, it is a Kingcole, but also look for So Unique and you may find that there as well. So let's have a quick check. Is there any other details? It's 30% wool. Somebody did ask me if it would irritate them, and I had a look. If you've got problems with wool, it probably will. It feels soft to me, but I don't have any issues like that. I do have quite sort of sensitive skin, as in it's dry, but when it's a scarf, something like that, it doesn't bother me at all. So it's 30% wool, 70% acrylic. So it comes down to how your tolerances are for different yarns. But any variegated yarn, any plain yarn, anything. I mean, to be honest, this stitch will go with anything, whether you're 4-ply, whether you're chunky, whether you're Aran, anything goes, because the stitch, it just sort of works itself out no matter what yarn you're using. So let's just undo this a little bit. I'm actually going to start on mine. I actually started, I've written it down with my chain, but I didn't say how many. I can't actually remember how many I did do with it, but it doesn't matter. I know I wanted my scarf approximately that width, and when it's edged, it will be a little bit wider. So with your chain, you make it as wide as you want. Everybody likes their scarves differently. Some people want them thinner, some people want them really wide ones, and this pattern is so versatile, it doesn't matter. So I'm just going to do a chain. Let's have a look. I will count, and then if you're wanting to copy that, you can do. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. I'm going to go for 35 and see what it looks like. 31, 32, 33, 34 and 35. Compare. Not quite. Let's go for 40 then. 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. What do I think? Oh, let's have a couple more. 30. We'll go for 45. 41, 42, 43, 44 and 45. Now there are some mathematics involved when we're doing a V-stitch because the amount of stitches you use. I'm going to show you a way of, don't have to think about it. Might need to juggle a little bit on that first row, but to be honest, I'm not going to make you think about the maths of it, because I think it's multiples of 3 plus 1, if I remember rightly. But, oh, it's plus 3 because it's a treble. But I'm not going to worry about that. I've just done 45 stitches. Let's just see what happens, shall we? I'm going to do 1 double crochet into each one. Now, I am on UK terms, so obviously if we're in the US there, these are single crochets. You don't have to do this row even. Some people like to go straight into doing a V-stitch. I just like the edge, because I think when I'm going to go all the way around to edge it as well, it's easier to work in rather than just loose stitches. I just think it looks neater. Obviously, I've got to remember when I get to the very end of the scarf, I need to actually do 1 final double crochet round as well. So you do have to think about that to make it even. Not that anyone's likely to come up to your scarf and check that fact, but it just does finish it off nicer, I think. Gets a bit of a pain when it curls round like this, but when we get that first V-stitch row out of the way, you'll not have that. Now, if you can do a treble, you can do a V-stitch. It's that easy. All you need is chain and trebles, chain and trebles for the actual V-stitch. I know I'm doing double crochets now, but for the actual V-stitch, it's just trebles and chain. And as soon as you've got the first row out of the way, that's the row that if perhaps we've got 1 too many stitches here or not quite enough, that's where I will show you how we will bodge it a little bit. Because as soon as you've got that first row out of the way, it is very, very simple to see where your stitches are going. I think it's such a, like I say, real versatile stitch. You can make bags. I've used it in really fine stuff, which looks fabulous in 4-ply. We're nearly there at the end. So just 1 double crochet into every single one. Remember, I did 45 stitches. Just don't overthink it. Just do it as wide as you would like. Nearly at the end now. I've got 2 more stitches. Alright, so I'm at the end. So I have my row of just double crochets to the width I want my scarf. It's actually slightly wider than mine that I've already done, but that doesn't matter. Again, it's personal preference. Now, each end of this, I need it to be neat. So I need it to start with 3 chain. I need to end with 1 treble. I will show you that. I'm going to do 3 chain, 1, 2 and 3. I always turn my work after the fact. A lot of patterns tell you to turn the work and then do 3 chain. I prefer to do it the other way around. It just feels more comfortable for me. So I have my 3 chain and I have turned. I'm going to miss 1 and 2. I'm not doing anything in those 2, but in number 3 I'm going to do a treble. So yarn round into the stitch. Remember, we're picking up both parts. Pull it through. We pull it through 2. We pull it through 2 because it's a treble. I'm going to do 1 chain. I'm going to do 2 chain, and then I'm going to do a treble back into that same space. You can see the space we've just come out of. Can you see that? I'm going to go back into it. So yarn round, treble in, pull it through, 1, 2. So that is why it's a V, because it goes down and up. So you've got your V shape. If you're looking at it from the other direction, obviously people are going to argue it's a different shape altogether. But yeah, so it goes down and up. So that is your V that is there. So I'm going to miss 1 and 2. And I'm going to do another treble. I'm going to do 2 chain and another treble back into the same space. So both trebles are coming out of the same stitch. I'm going to miss 2 and I'm going to go into the third. So 2 chain and a treble into the same stitch. There are variations on this stitch. You'll get them where there's chains in between, you'll get them where there's only one chain, you'll get them 3 chains. This is only what I've done on my scarf, and that's all I'm showing you. I'm not trying to tell you how to do a V-stitch. So I'm going to miss 2, and into that third I do a treble, I do 2 chain, and I go back with another treble into the same space. I'm going to miss 2, into the third one, I do a treble, I do 2 chain, I do another treble back into that same stitch. So can you see? You see how those little V's are starting to appear? Just pull the yarn out again. So I miss 1, I miss 2, into the third. So I'm just going to go a little bit quicker to get to the end now, because then I can show you the next row. I think after you've done this row, the next row, that's all there is. You just keep repeating the row after this one. So 1, 2, into our third. Oh, make sure you do pick both sides up, it does make a difference. So we're going to have 1, 2 chain, and in. 1, 2, and in. 2 chain, 1 treble back in to create that V. So the V is just 1 treble into a chain or a stitch, 2 chain, 1 treble back into the same one. So we've got 1, 2, 3. So 1 treble, 2 chain, 1 treble back into the same stitch. 1, 2, 3, 1 treble, 2 chain, 1 treble back into the same stitch. So we're coming towards the end now. 1, 2, 3. This is where, as I mentioned before, the mathematics do come in. Because if you think, I'm saying I'm going into every third, so that is why it should be multiples of 3, but we're not going to over worry about that. 1, 2, 3, and I'll show you why. So 2 chain and 1 treble. Make sure you're wrapping your yarn for your treble. I mean, you'll notice anyway if you've done it wrong. So we have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Right, so we're right at the end now. So I have 1, 2, 3, I have 4 stitches. Ideally I should only have 3, because my last stitch I'm needing to be just a treble. I can be a little bit naughty. You're going to get away at this point with just jumping into the 4th. I know, I'm bad. There we go. If we can get in that last one's always difficult. So I'm just going to do a treble. If it'll pull through, there we go. So it's a treble. So yeah, I have sort of jumped, but you're not going to see that. I promise you will not see that as you move along. Now my next row is the one that you're going to just keep doing over and over again. So I will do a few, but every time the row starts with 3 chain. I'm turning my work. Now you can see each of these V's, I'm hoping. So it's not the ones that point up, it's these. It's where you did your trebles. And you're going to into that, so you're not going into a stitch now, it's easy. We're going into the hole. We're going to do a treble. We're going to do the 2 chain. And we're going to do a treble. So we just do a V-stitch into the V-stitch. That's all it is. So we're going to do a few more of those. So yarn round into the V-stitch. Treble, 2 chain, into the V-stitch. Again, treble into the V-stitch, 2 chain, treble into the V-stitch. So the only thing you have to watch is that you don't go in these in between. They have to go that way up, so it's got to be that V shape, and you're going into the hole on that. So yarn round, this is my next V, as you can see it there, into the space, treble, or not, just dropped it, 2 chain, into the V space again. Made a mess of that one, didn't I? And treble. Find the next V space, yarn round, treble, 2 chain, and treble. So again, V space, we've found it, it's there, treble, 2 chain, and treble. It's quite quick when you get into it because we're not having to pick out stitches. You're just going into a massive space. It's almost like why a granny square works so fast, because you're not, I don't know how many stitches did there, that's 2. You're only going into a space rather than a stitch, and wherever you're doing that, it makes it a lot faster. So yarn round, treble, 2 chain and treble, into the V space, treble, 2 chain, back into the V space with our second treble. We've only got a couple more to go. Try and make sure you do remember your 2 chain in between each one, because for this particular pattern, as I said, there are variants on it. It will make a difference when you're trying to do the scarf. So we have treble, 2 chain, treble, into the V-stitch. We have one more, treble, 2 chain, V-stitch. We're on our last one. Now remember that was a chain, so it's sometimes a bit hard to get in a chain. So yarn round, approximately top of that 3 chain. It's a bit of guesswork at this point, and we do a treble. So you can see it's sitting nice and flat. Don't worry if it's curving round a bit, it will straighten out the more rows you do. So let's have another row. Each row starts 3 chain. Turn the work straight into that first V. Can you see that first V there? So yarn round, in we go, treble, 2 chain. Oh, see what I did there? I didn't wrap, so I've ended up with double crochet, not a treble. But like I say, you'll see that, you'll know you've done it wrong. So yarn round and off. Right, next V. See how they're all lining up on top of each other now. Next V. Next one. You see my colour's going to be starting to change soon. So it started with a beige, I've gone on to a green. There'll probably be a couple more rows of the green. I'm saying rounds because I've just been working with rounds. Let's have a look. I think this is working nice. I just love the colours with this, because really I suppose it's put all my favourite colours together. I'm a real big fan of green. Love green. Of every shade really. Not fond of neon green, but any nice, especially natural greens, sort of plant greens and things like that, mossy greens and that. And I also absolutely love pinks and purples, so the colouring was just spot on for me. See how quick the row actually goes. And all I'm doing is going into each one. Now, as I say, beware, because you start seeing this hole in between, and it's not that one. You must make sure it's the one where both trebles are coming out of the same stitch. A few things to watch for there, because again, you get distracted, you sat on the sofa, you're watching telly, you're talking to somebody, and then all of a sudden you've gone in the wrong stitch. So I'm going to make this the last one and then just sort of show you a little bit on how it should be sitting. Remember, last stitch is a treble. First stitch is 3 chain, last stitch has to be a treble, because it keeps your sides nice and neat. Essentially, that is it. You're going to just keep doing that and that and that and that until the scarf is a length you require. I know some people would rather have a smaller one. If you'd done this wider, perhaps it could just be sort of I don't know, a cowl sort of size, so it just slots over your head. It doesn't actually have to be a scarf, but like I say, I've just chosen to do the scarf. So you can see it's exactly the same pattern, just a little bit wider on this one, but you just keep going exactly the same. And if you look, I'm laying this one out, you can actually see how they should line up. Now, so each V is inside the previous row's V, and again, make sure we get that V. That is what you're going in between. Don't get distracted with these holes. It is very easy to get distracted. I've done it myself, so I know it happens. So if I just lay it down that way again. So here we can see our row. Oh, we have V, 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 V. Yep, you can see these. Let me move it up a little bit, or maybe lose it a little bit closer. I don't want it to blur out, that's all. So you can see this is a V, this is a V, this is a V. Wherever they're both coming out of the same stitch is your V, because it's too easy to end up going in these in between. So just watch for that V. As soon as you've done a couple of rows, maybe 3 or 4 rows, you've got into that routine, it won't be a problem. So I hope that helps, and I hope the people who ask me to sort of do this for them are going to make some lovely scarves, and I hope some of the rest of you are going to make some lovely scarves as well. So it's just a quick video for you there on the V-stitch, and hopefully you like what you've seen. Hopefully you've had a quick look at my reindeer this morning as well. But thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe and share. It does mean a lot to us YouTubers, especially the ones that haven't been doing it for too long. And if you want any more notifications of any other tutorials I'm going to be doing, which I will be, I've decided I'm actually going to do a glove to go with this. I'm making myself a glove, well, glove and fingerless gloves I'm making, but I will do one for the tutorials as well, probably next week. I might get it done this week, I'm not sure yet. So pop on that notification bell if you do want to see any more like that. But thank you very much for watching. I'll get this uploaded now and hope to see you all soon. Bye.